Hello! Today's day 80 of my carnivore diet. I'm behind the camera today. I bet you weren't expecting that. Yeah, so today is day 80. Again, my last update video was day 70. So that was 10 days ago. Today is day 80. So again, another big round number for me to be updating. I wanted to film another update video sooner, but I didn't know what to talk about, and it's been kind of tough just because things have been pretty busy. I've been working on schoolwork and like my job and just a ton of other stuff. So today's day 80. I mean, it's kind of weird how fast the time has gone by, but it also feels like I've been carnivore for like a really long time too. It's kind of weird how that perspective works out in my head. The time has really flown, but it also hasn't, if that makes any sense. But I'm happy to be here at day 80, and 10 more days and I'll hit day 90, and then 10 more days on top of that and I'll be at day 100. So I'll definitely do an update video. Try to do an update video at those landmarks. What are they called?
Milestones?
Milestones, that's what they're called. Okay. Definitely, yeah. So I'll definitely try to film update videos at those milestones as well. We'll see how my schedule works out because it has been pretty busy. I'm not complaining though because I like having things to do. I don't like just sitting around all day. So this last week was Labor Day weekend, so it was a short week of school. This week of school felt really long for some reason though. I don't know what it was about it, but even though it was shorter. But yeah, this weekend was the last weekend. That was really fun. We kicked it off with JT, and I did a live stream with him and some other carnivores, and we stayed up late talking, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I'm really starting to like doing those lives. I think I'd like to start doing more lives soon. So I'd like to do. The problem is I need somebody to do it with because I don't know if I'd be able to captivate an audience's attention by myself. So I should coordinate with other carnivores to like set up interviews or just discussions. Because I think that would be fun. I enjoy doing the live streams, and I can do like Q&As too. Yeah, so the live stream was a lot of fun, and Labor Day itself was really nice. Having a day off was really nice. I got some more work done outside of school, and went in for a Labor Day WOD at our CrossFit gym. On holidays, our gym will have like special workouts, and they're free, so anybody can come in, and usually they'll have like food, and it's just a really fun time. So we went in and we did the Labor Day WOD on Monday, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And then that night we grilled some steaks, and we tried out a new charcoal. We tried out what is it? Chunk charcoal? Lump. We tried out lump charcoal on our grill. And that's the first time I've ever tried it. Is it the first time you've tried it too?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So we tried lump charcoal, and at first I kind of thought it smelled really weird, but then after we got it going, it was fine. It tasted like regular charcoal. I didn't really notice much of a difference between the lump charcoal and the regular charcoal that we just buy at Costco. So it's not significant, but it was fun to try. So we had steaks, and those were really good. And speaking of Labor Day and speaking of steaks, meat typically goes on sale around those sorts of holidays, right? So there were some pretty good deals at the local grocery stores around here for some steaks, and I'm gonna introduce you guys to a little something that I like to call Sofia's steak stash. So it's my own personal collection of discounted meats and meats on sale. It's all steak, but because steak is my absolute favorite. But I personally love shopping for meat. It's like one of my favorite things to do. Every time we go to the grocery store, I tell my mom, we gotta go look at the meat. Okay. I'm gonna be honest, I was super pumped about this topic, and so I talked about it for way too long. And I'm already going to explain everything I'm talking about here, so I'm just gonna speed it up for you so you don't have to listen to all of it. I filmed myself packaging up all the meat I bought recently as well as my steak stash, so here it is. Alright, welcome to the part of the video about my steak stash. So this is Sofia's steak stash. So I have a little something that I like to call Sofia's steak stash. It is my own personal supply of meat that I have been building since for a few months now, since I went carnivore. So some local grocery stores around here, they'll have reduced meat like every week. And so they'll reduce like really nice cuts like New York strips and ribeyes, and what I'll do is I'll buy them because they're cheaper, and so I buy them with my own money, and I package them up and I put them in the freezer, and we have this little corner in our freezer that's mine. It's called Sofia's Steak Stash, and I recently just bought some new meat because there was a really good sale, like I mentioned. I probably mentioned it. There was a really good sale at the grocery store, so I bought 6 steaks. So I'm excited, and I just wanted to show you guys what it's like with me packaging up the meat, and then I wanted to show you my steak stash afterwards. So let's get going. So here are the 6 steaks that I bought. I got some pretty good cuts. Here I've got 3 New York strips, 2 T-bones, and 1 honkin' ribeye. I think this thing ended up weighing around 1.5 pounds. And this is our vacuum sealer that we use to package the meat. This thing is really old. I don't even know how old it is, but it still works most of the time. Here I'm using the sealing setting to seal one end of the bag I'll be using to package the meat. The process of packaging up meat can be long and boring, especially with our old vacuum sealer. When our vacuum sealer gets too hot, it stops working and you end up having to wait a while for it to cool down to use it again. This always ends up being really frustrating when you have a lot of meat to package, because then it ends up taking like 3 hours to package up the meat. Thankfully, I only had my meat to package today, and it was just my steaks, so I didn't experience too much trouble because the vacuum sealer didn't get too hot. After all my steaks were vacuum sealed, I weighed and labeled them to be frozen. 1 pound, 5 ounces.
So can you really finish a 1 pound, 5 ounce steak?
Yeah. I ate pretty much all of like a 1.5 pound ribeye once. It was good. Yeah, I can definitely finish a 1 pound, 5 ounce steak. I can eat a lot of meat right now, especially since I'm gaining weight, so. Okay. 3 New York strips, 2 T-bones, and 1 big old ribeye, and 1 very, very happy carnivore who's gonna be very happy eating all this steak. So I wanna show you guys my steak stash. That's what I call it. It's called Sofia's Steak Stash, and I've been building it up over the past few months. Been buying meat with my own money and stocking it up, so let's go out to the steak stash. This is my steak stash. It's Sofia's Steak Stash, if you couldn't read. So I've got some ribeyes that I need to eat because they're not vacuum sealed, so I need to eat these soon. But I've got a tomahawk in here, and I got a big huge ribeye, and I've got some New York strips, and I've got some petite sirloins in here as well. So I'm just gonna haphazardly stack these right now. My steak stash has grown a lot since I started it, and so this box isn't big enough to hold it anymore, but I'm really proud of my steak stash. So, alright. I love sniffing out a good deal for steaks. I don't know what it is about meat shopping, but I love it so much. Going off of that, at the local grocery store, we got some fat, and we didn't just get some fat, we got a lot of fat. What they'll do at the grocery stores when they're processing the meat is, because people are so afraid of fat, they'll cut off a lot of it. They'll cut off a lot of fat trimmings. So what me and my mom did is we went up to the meat counter at one of our grocery stores, and we asked them if they had any fat trimmings that they had saved from when they were cutting up their meats. And lo and behold, the guy went in the back, he pulled out these 2 huge like foam trays that were just like overflowing with beef fat. And I'll probably get a picture of one and like put it into the video. We got like, I don't know, how many pounds was it? Like over 5 pounds?
Way over.
Way over 5 pounds, but we got like over 5 pounds
Probably
of just
like 10 pounds of
yeah, of just straight fat trimmings, and it was like for 45 cents a pound. We ended up paying like $5 for the 2 huge things. And so what I did with what we did with those is took the pieces of fat and I cut them up into smaller pieces, like bite-sized pieces, and you put them in the air fryer and you salt them, and you put them in at like 400. That's as high as our air fryer will go, but I put them in at like 400 and like 7 to 10 minutes. You flip them so that they get crispy on all sides, but they are so good, and they're like they're so satisfying. They're the best carnivore fat bombs there are, I think, at least. They're so good. So yeah, that was pretty awesome, I think. But like when you do that, it renders out like a lot of the fat from the trimmings. So even just from doing like a teeny little bit of the fat, you get like a lot of tallow. So that's another thing too. If you want to save the tallow from that, you can use it to like cook with. And so that's really good too. So yeah, go ask your local butcher, go ask your local grocery store, their meat counter, ask them if they have any fat trimmings that they've saved. And it's really good. It's really satisfying. It tastes amazing. And it's a good way to add fat, because you need a lot of fat on the carnivore diet. And I personally don't think I've been eating enough fat lately, because with school starting, I haven't been able to make my meals at home. Well, I haven't been able to make my lunches at home. I've been having to take lunches with me, and I don't think my lunches have been fatty enough, honestly, because I've just been taking straight hard-boiled eggs and cooked bacon. And normally when I was eating at home, I would have usually for lunch like these really fatty Polish sausages or like eggs that I cooked in like a lot of bacon grease. So I don't think that I've been getting enough fat or water or electrolytes. It's hard adjusting to the new schedule of school, so I think I'm gonna start taking more of those beef fat trimmings with me, like cooking those down and just taking those with me and eating those with my lunch, and also taking electrolytes with me and water, because it's hard to drink. I haven't really been drinking as much water either, so my hands are getting dry again, and that could also be from too low fat as well. So I need to up my fat intake, up my water intake, probably up my salt and salt electrolyte intake as well. So that's something that I'm going to be working on in the next few weeks. Speaking of school as well, I did well on my AP Physics test. I mentioned that in my last video. That was coming up, and I was kind of nervous for it, but I ended up doing a lot better on it than I thought I did. There was a really hard question at the end, and I thought I got it completely wrong. Like, I had no idea what I was doing on it, but it turns out I did it right. So I felt pretty proud of myself for figuring that one out. And I know some people were asking on my last video if I did end up joining the cross-country team, because I forgot to mention it in the last video. I decided not to join the cross-country team just because my schedule is already super chaotic as it is, and I don't want to have to give up CrossFit. And yeah, but yeah, that's how school's been going. My body image has been getting, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it's been getting steadily worse as I've gained more weight. But I feel like that's kind of to be expected, especially when you're dealing with an eating disorder. And I'm not gonna let that deter me. I've mentioned this before. I'm not gonna let that deter me from continuing on the carnivore diet, because I talked about this a lot in my last video. So if you want to hear more about it, you can go watch my day 70 update video. But I need to recognize that it's temporary and I can get over it, and it's better to be healthy than it is to be skinny. And look good, even though I didn't look good. I looked really bad before. But yeah, I'm just hoping that as I stick with it and my mind heals and my body heals, eventually one day I'll be able to love my body. Maybe not love it, but just accept it as it is. I think as I continue with this lifestyle, it will make my body look the way it is meant to look. And my mind will get healthy, my body will get healthy, and I'll be able to accept it the way that it is. And so that's something that I'm really hoping for in the future, and it's just something that's helping me to keep moving forward, keep looking ahead, and just not go back to the way things were. Because eating disorders, they're so mean. They're absolutely cruel. They make you think like horrible things about yourself, and you convince yourself that these thoughts are true, and you convince yourself that the eating disorder is trying to help you. Like it's just a concerned friend that wants you to look the best way possible, or it just wants you to be happy. But I was convinced of that for the longest time. I was convinced that the eating disorder was on my side and it was looking out for me. But I think now, at this point, I'm starting to realize that it never had my best interest at heart. It was just, the eating disorder is awful, and it is something that is trying to bring me down and make my life horrible. It is just an evil spirit, and I need to remove myself from it. So yeah, eating disorders, they're mean, and they make you believe things about yourself. They make you have these thoughts. And this last week, at my group therapy with my therapist, he handed out like this little paper, and it has these questions on it. I'm gonna call them like reality check questions, like based on a thought. And the questions are like, is it true? Is the thought true? Can I absolutely know that it's true? How do I react or feel when I believe that thought? And who would I be without that thought? So basically, anytime the eating disorder is telling me that I'm eating too much, or I'm getting too fat, or things were so much better the way they were before, why don't you just go back to the way things were? I'm so glad that he gave me these questions, because I was super excited to get these in group, because I was like, oh, I can definitely use this. And I think it's something that might be able to help you too if you're struggling with something like that. I've talked about pretty much everything I want to talk about except for sprinting. There's this carnivore doctor, and I've mentioned him before. His name is Dr. Sean O'Mara. He's like one of my favorite carnivore doctors. I really like, me and my mom, we both really like the stuff that he talks about. He talks a lot about visceral fat and how to reduce that. Not that I think I have any visceral fat, but it's just really interesting stuff. And he mentions a lot that the key to burning visceral fat and keeping visceral fat off is carnivore diet, fermented vegetables, hot and cold, right?
Yeah, hot and cold
So
shocks.
like saunas and like cold shocks, so like cold showers or like ice plunges, and sprinting. Sprinting is a big one. I think it's probably, like, he says the biggest thing is cutting out like processed foods and carbs, but I think the second biggest thing is sprinting for him. I haven't been doing it too much, but I'm gonna start doing it more. But I tried sprinting. I've been trying sprinting the past couple of days. And it's not like any special sort of sprinting. It is literally just sprinting for like 5 to 30 seconds at a time. So you're just going as fast as you can. And he says you can do it either uphill or on a flat path. And so the other night I went out and I tried it and I did a couple spurts of sprinting, and I felt really good, like while I was doing it and after it. Like it's awesome. Sprinting is awesome. And so I've encouraged my mom to try it, and I'm gonna start doing it more, and I'd encourage you to try it. I wanted to talk about my baby hairs. I don't know if you've noticed, but like along my scalp, it looks kind of weird along my hairline. I've got all these baby hairs that are growing in, and it's good and frustrating at the same time, because hey, I'm getting healthier hair, I'm getting thicker hair again. But it's just frustrating right now because the baby hairs are coming in and they look weird and they stick out in like so many different directions. And I was at the gym yesterday and we were doing overhead squats. Typically what you do before you do a heavy lift is you take a big breath in so that you have the power to you breathe out while you're pushing. Brace your core. And you brace, yeah, so you take a big breath in and you brace your core. And usually I put my hair up while I'm working out, but baby hairs don't fit into like a bun or a ponytail. So as I was lifting yesterday, every time I would take a breath, I would breathe in my hairs, and it was really annoying. So I just wanted to mention that because it's good and annoying. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching this update video today. Day 80, 20 more days, and I'll hit day 100. I hope you'll tune into that video as well once I get that one out, once it happens. Please like and subscribe. Go eat some meat. Bye. That's my steak dance.